Hey guys, this is Stacia the Cunning Mom and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a video on one of my favorite TV show, This Is Us. I did a few reviews for This Is Us last season and the season has started. We're on episode 5 right now, but this is my favorite episode, so that's why I'm here to do a review. I am not going to be doing reviews on every single episode. I'm just going to be doing reviews on the episodes that moves me to do a review. So this is my favorite episode so far for this season. So let's dive right in. So in this episode, Rebecca has decided to find a new house. This will be her first house since the death of her husband, since the death of Jack. And the kids have almost all of them have moved on. Kate is still home with Rebecca. Randall has moved off to college, and Kevin has moved to pursue his acting career with his longtime girlfriend, Sophie. So Kate is still home, but Kate found a job working in a record store, and she has a new boyfriend. So she's been pretty much making out with this guy at the store. They probably never defined a relationship, but Kate had a dinner and she wanted all the kids there. It would be their first dinner in the new house, and they were all sitting around the table, and she wanted all the kids there. So Randall was there with his college sweetheart, Beth, and Kevin came home with Sophie. Now, Kevin and Sophie got married. Okay, they decided to get married. They were in New York, and they saw a sign. They had a sign. And that sign told them they need to be married. So they got married. So anyway, Kevin came home with Sophie. And it was just so cute when he took her. He picked her up and carried her. He carried her into the house. And it was cute the way they were calling themselves like husband and wife and all that. It kind of made me sad that they're not still together. I love them together. I just love a good love story. And Kate's supposed boyfriend showed up. I guess Kate told him about it, but he never confirmed that he was coming, but he decided to show up and he introduced himself as her boyfriend. She seemed like she was a bit surprised by that, but he did introduce himself as her boyfriend. And the boys, Randall and Kevin, they did not seem to like him, and Kate was kind of upset about that. Maybe they had a sixth sense or something that they just weren't feeling him, that they didn't like him. He didn't really say anything or do anything for them to dislike him. So it must have been a feeling that they had. And I think this is a story that's going to be developed upon, because in present day, when Kate ran across one of his pictures in her like they had some pictures that they found in a piano, and she came across the picture and it was kind of eerie, the way it was, and Rebecca was like, I'm sorry, like I just didn't know what was going on at that time. So there's something there, right? Something there that I think that's going to be a storyline that's going to be developed as the season goes forward. So at the dinner, they all got to meet Beth for the first time, and they all seemed to like her. They thought Beth was perfect. So of course Randall was just happy about that. So Kate was mad about them not liking the boyfriend. So they had a kind of an argument in the kitchen, and of course all their guests in the living room could hear them. Rebecca went in there to, like to squash things and to smooth things over. And I was kind of proud of her. I think it was the first time I actually saw her like being really stern. I was proud of her, the way she handled that situation and the way she handled them. But one of the stories that Rebecca told, which kind of lightened the mood and lightened the atmosphere, was a story about Jack, kind of like a story about Jack when they had first moved into their house, and Rebecca was actually pregnant with her triplets at the time, and they had moved into her house, and there was a bird in the house, and Jack, he was like afraid of birds, but he had to catch this bird and get it out of the house, and it just lightened the mood, and they were all laughing, and it was good because they needed that. They needed some joy. And at that moment, Rebecca stated that we need to be able to talk about him and be happy. We can't just associate him with all things sad, right? He was a good man. There were lots of happy moments. They had a joyful household. So they need to be able to talk about him, talk about Jack, and just be happy, right? So I love that moment. I love that. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about Randall, because Randall's story comes full circle. Randall, of course, we all know that Randall suffers from panic attacks. Anxiety brings on the panic attacks. And we saw that in this episode, we saw that his daughter inherited that from him. And we also learned that Randall inherited that from his dad, William. If you're not familiar, William is Randall's biological father, and Randall went out and found William as an adult. He found him and he actually moved him into his house. But William was terminally ill and he eventually passed away. But the time they got to spend with him was just so precious. They got to learn so much about his life, and he was just a good man. Beth had a lot of conversations with William, so I think she knows more about him than any of them knew, right? So Beth spoke to William, and she found out that he also had anxiety issues. So that's where Randall got it from. And now we see that Tess has anxiety issues. And Tess is just, she wants nothing to do. It's like she's upset with her dad because of it. She doesn't want to compare herself to her dad. Not exactly sure where all that is stemming from, but I think she was just upset at the whole situation. And she just didn't want to admit that this is an issue for her and that she's taking on a lot. And we see that Beth was actually, I think Beth took this as an opportunity to get Randall counseling, because now she's talking about counseling for her daughter, counseling for Tess, and Randall's all on board about counseling for Tess, but now she's telling him that you have been coping with this, and there are resources now. Of course, when you were younger, there weren't all the resources, but now there are resources out there to help you to manage it better and, I don't know, maybe possibly cure you of anxiety. But you can tell he's even anxious about talking to Beth about it. And his coping mechanism is smiling through it all. He's like, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'll be fine. That's him coping. He smiles through everything, right? So, I mean, but he's a man. And sometimes men cannot accept the fact that they need help. They see it as a sign of weakness. I don't know, but we'll see how that progresses. Maybe when Tess starts getting her counseling and her therapy, maybe it'll like be an eye-opener for him that he also needs to move in that direction and get the necessary help that he needs. But I know Beth is probably gonna continue to push the issue. So she's a good wife, you know she would. But one of the best parts was Beth's speech when she was talking to both Randall and Tess. And she gave them the example. Well, it was actually a coping mechanism, which William told her about. And she had 2 glasses and she poured soda in the glass and basically told them to just take a minute and breathe until the bubbles settle, right? Until it settles. Take a moment and breathe. So that's a coping mechanism that William got from, I think William said he got that from his mom. That's how he dealt with his anxiety. And she's passing that on to them. But I did love that. I loved her speech. She had a great speech for them. And you can see Randall. You can see the how proud he was of his wife, because they actually got Tess to open up, and she was able to open up, and they were able to understand why, you know, what brought on that anxiety, what caused that panic attack. I'm going to talk a little about Kate. Now, Kate and Toby, they have their new baby Jack. I'm just going to give you a little recap. So baby Jack is blind. And what I love about Kate is that she is doing everything in her power. She's doing everything in her means to give Jack everything that he needs and to empower him, everything just to empower him to have a life without limits. And the stories all go full circle. We see in a previous episode, we saw that Jack actually becomes a professional singer. He becomes a professional singer. Rebecca tried to go pro as an artist. She tried, and she never really fulfilled her dream. And we see that Kate also tried, and she didn't fulfill her dream. Not completely. She did a few gigs, but she didn't completely fulfill her dream. But baby Jack, even with his disability, isn't it just wonderful the way these storylines go? Baby Jack, he was in a stadium with thousands of people singing, thousands of people. And that's a testament to Kate, because Kate got him into music class. We saw that she got him into music class. Of course, he couldn't see, so the first class was kind of a challenge for him. It was just new, and it was kind of abrupt. And of course, he needs to be eased into things. But she got him into music, and he was able to fulfill his dream, and that's in the future. Right now, he's a baby. And so Kate determined, she said, my son is going to live a life without limits. And we saw that. Now, Kate and Toby are both coping with Jack's disability a little different. Kate is coping by overeating. She's gaining a lot of weight. And Toby probably sees this and thinks, I need to live for my child. So Toby is coping by going to the gym, working out. He's in the gym all the time, working out. Now he's looking cut, wearing these suits, and Kate sees this. And what I do not like, is the way she's making him feel. She's trying to make him feel guilty for working out, acting like he's not there. That is her projecting her guilt. They say misery love company. Yeah, Kate, at this point, she's misery, and she wants some company. And I can understand. Toby, he's had a near-death experience, and now he has a child that is blind, and he's probably thinking, my child is going to need me as long as possible. My child is going to need me. I need to live for my child. So I understand the why Toby feels the way he does. So now I'm going to move on to Kevin. So Kevin he's just loving and just chilled. Even as a child, we saw, I think it was, I don't know, maybe like an episode ago or 2 episodes ago, when Randall was in school and he had a panic attack. And Kevin just got on the bike, rode over there, and just helped him to calm down. So he loves helping people. He's got a good heart. And I think that comes from his dad. He's a lot like his father. He develops relationships in weird ways, right? And he's good at developing relationships. He's good at making people feel like special, like they're the only person there. That's how Jack was. And Kevin has that type of effect on people. Like he pulls you in and he makes you feel like you're so important. And we saw that in the restaurant where there was a fan there and she wanted to take a picture, and just the way he interacts with people, it like mesmerizes you. It mesmerizes you. I think it was Nikki. Nikki told him that he has weird relationships with people. Even Nikki. He has a weird relationship with Nikki. And I love that he has reached out to Nikki. I love that he's the only one in the family that is pretty much like pushing himself on him. And I think he's doing that because he sees himself in Nikki. He sees his dad in Nikki. Nikki is battling the same disease that Kevin's battling right now, alcoholism. And it's good that he's pretty much like a sponsor for him, right? Like Kevin has his own challenges with alcohol, but you see him helping Nikki to stay sober. I just find that so amazing. And I think it's not just about the family aspect of it. I think it helps him to feel closer to his father. He wants Nikki to tell stories about his dad. His dad's not around to tell him about the childhood and tell him all these stories. And he wants Nikki to open up. He wants to learn more about his father. It helps him to feel closer to his dad. So I think that's where that bond is with Kevin and Nikki. And when Nikki told the story about the ice cream, I really enjoyed that story. And I know it helped Nikki, and it also helped Kevin to feel a little closer to his father, to get a little like better understanding. Like his grandfather wasn't that great of a person. He was abusive to his grandmother, Jack's mother, but they were able to highlight like some good parts of their childhood, some good parts where they were able to laugh with their father. And well, Nikki said he was a son of a bee, but there were a few times when he was a good dad, right? I don't know if I paraphrase that. So Kevin, Nikki, and Cassidy. Now Cassidy is a veteran, present day, a veteran. She came home and PTSD, drinking. She's pretty much like her family is broken, and she's going through a divorce. Her husband is Ryan. I think his name is Ryan. So yeah, she's going through a divorce. And Kevin, Nikki, and Cassidy, they have formed a bond, and they hang out a lot. They're trying to help each other to all stay sober. So they've created a little group friendship. And you can tell that Cassidy's husband is not a big fan of Kevin. He's not a big fan of Kevin because his son loves Kevin. And he also thinks, I think he also thinks that Kevin is trying to move in on his wife, right? Kevin claims he's trying to help her to get back with her husband. But I think she has some feelings for him. I think she does, just the way she looks at him. And he also sees her for who she is right now. Her husband he loved who she was. The military changed her, and he said the military broke her. And I don't know, what I enjoyed about this episode is how full circle everything was. It really is just about love. And that's what love's about. There are broken relationships, but you have to fight through it. You have to push through it. He is in love with that person that she was, hoping that he can get that back. And it's a high possibility that she'll never be that person again. Once you have experienced certain things, you can never go back. You can't unsee what you have seen. You can learn to live with it, to move past it. You can learn to heal from it, but you cannot unsee or undo certain things. She killed people. She has to live with that. I have a feeling that divorce actually goes through. And her and Kevin, I think she's the one that Kevin married. I think she might be the one that Kevin married. So some things that I enjoyed. I enjoyed Rebecca's song that she sang for Kevin and Sophie. That was her wedding present to them. She sang a Princess Bride song. That was very nice, very touching. I enjoyed that. And I enjoyed the gift that Randall and Kevin presented baby Jack, their old piano. I mean, how thoughtful is that? How thoughtful. See, that's why baby Jack is such a great musician. That's why he made it to the big time. Now, predictions. I think for story development, I think there's something there about Kate's old boyfriend. I think maybe he was abusive to her, and Rebecca didn't see what was going on because she said she just didn't see what was going on. I think she was so wrapped up in her own stuff that she was dealing with from the death of her husband. And I think maybe that's why the boys didn't like him, because they probably saw something in there that nobody else, they had a sixth sense about him. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe he wasn't good to her, and she was dealing with her own insecurities, and she stayed with him, and nobody knew what was going on. So I think there's a lot to that storyline that's going to develop, or there's going to be more to come with him. For Cassidy, I think Cassidy and Kevin they're gonna develop a relationship, and we saw last season that Kevin had a son. So I don't know if it's Cassidy's son that she has right now, or if it was like some other kid that Kevin and Cassidy had together. I don't know. I mean, that's a possibility. So I think those are the two storylines that are going to develop, and I'm sure there's going to be more. There's more to see. The season just started. We're just 5 episodes in, and it's starting to get juicy. All right, guys, so that's a quick review. I don't know if I'll be here next week. Depends on how the storyline progresses. I may be back next week, but we'll see. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Let me know what you think. Let me know what storylines you think are going to develop. Let me know what you think about my predictions. Let me know what you think about the episode itself. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.